Hey guys, Rage Cage 20 here, and I'm coming at you with some extra SOMA stuff here. Like I mentioned in some of the last videos of SOMA that I made, I wanted to kind of do a rundown of the whole story, just so people like me who were going through it, who felt like there was holes and missing stuff, could get like a whole beginning to end storyline with some extra stuff in it. Obviously, this is going to contain some spoilers, so if you haven't watched the story, don't want to know the whole story, obviously stop listening now. I was going to put all this in the end of the description of the last one, but I started typing it all out and tried to put it up, and it was like, description's too long, so it's like, fuck it, I'm going to make a video. So, here is a rundown of the story, and for those of you who don't want to hear the story, but are interested in hearing some theories and some in-depth stuff about it, you're going to want to skip to towards the end. I'll try to put the time where I start to talk about all that stuff that people are guessing and additional content. I'll put the timestamp of that in the description somewhere. So the game begins with the main protagonist, Simon Jarrett, getting into a car crash that kills the woman that was with him. They're dating, but like at the beginning it says they're friends. I don't know. Anyways, Ashley, the girl he is dating, that's kind of what the whole dream thing in the beginning is, and this leaves Simon with brain damage and cranial bleeding, which is why he says that my brain is bleeding or whatever. Yeah, as well, that is. For this reason, Simon agrees to an experimental brain scan from David Munshi. After several visits, they realize that there is nothing they can do to save Simon's life, which is dying away because of the bleeding and brain damage, and Simon agrees to let David keep the scan of his brain for experimentation so that part of Simon can live on in the future. This becomes the legacy scan that teaches people like Catherine how to do personality and brain scans in the future to move people into robots. Fast forwarding approximately 88 years into the future, in 2103, the people on Earth decide to create an assembly of stations underwater around the North Atlantic Ocean named Pathos-II. The original intent of Pathos-II was to be a massive driver or a space gun to send objects into space without having to build rockets. The reason for this is because it is more cost efficient and resource efficient to not have to build big ass expensive rockets to send into space. They can just launch stuff directly into there. Shortly after, a comet hits the Earth, causing a major extinction event, leaving the humans down under the water to be the only known living humans left on Earth. These humans live day to day trying to battle the negative effects of isolation, while the machines in Pathos-II begin to develop human characteristics and consciousness. Approximately 1 year later, while everything and everyone in Pathos-II has almost completely wasted away, Simon awakens in Pathos-II, believing that he has passed out or that something went wrong during his first brain scan, because this is the last memory that the legacy scan had after it was scanned. Shortly after Simon wakes up at Upsilon, a seemingly abandoned research facility, he comes into contact with a person named Catherine who tells him to meet her at Lambda. On the way to Lambda, Simon meets a number of robots that believe that they are human and some that try to kill him. When Simon arrives at Lambda, he finds out that Catherine is not actually human, but a scan of human consciousness stored onto a chip. She hints that Simon is also not real, and Simon starts to figure out more and more as he goes that he too is a scan placed into a robotic body. Though they both do not know by whom put Simon into this robotic body. Catherine explains that the facility has been taken over by an artificial intelligence known as the Warden Unit, or the WOW, and it has turned all the humans into biomechanical monsters through the use of structured gel, which the WOW also uses to control all the robots and facilities. The WOW is doing this because it believes that this is the best way to carry out its prime function of preserving humanity at the stations. Catherine proceeds to tell Simon about the Ark, a computer that runs a simulated world containing the scans of the station's staff, which was created to let humanity survive beyond the Earth. Even though the Ark was completed, it was never launched into space for reasons unknown to Catherine, because her scan was made before the attempt to launch it. Simon agrees to help recover the Ark and launch it, and takes Catherine with him. Since the Ark is located deep beneath the Atlantic, they first travel to Theta, where a deep-sea vessel called the Dumbat is stored. The Dumbat, however, has a scan implemented into it by the WoW, and it escapes once activated, leaving Simon with no choice but to go to Omicron to retrieve a deep-sea diving suit. Upon arriving at Omicron, Simon finds the suit, but realizes he is too bulky to fit into it and needs parts to activate the human body already in the suit. The body being a girl that worked at the station that realized what the WoW was doing, but was killed by the WoW when attempting to put on the diving suit to go kill the WoW. When gathering the parts of the suit, Simon is spoken to by Johann Ross, an AI psychologist, who was the first person to realize that the WoW was committing, quote, evil, unquote, acts, and tried to convince his peers to destroy it, but to no success, and is told to destroy the WoW. After gathering the parts, Simon is transferred into his new body, and as he awakens in his new suit, he hears his old one talking. Simon realizes that he was not moved, but copied over to the suit, and Catherine explains that copying is the only process available to her, and Simon chooses to delete the old copy or let it live. There we go. Once descended into the abyss, Simon retrieves the Ark from Tau and proceeds to Phi, where the launch station is located. Simon tries to follow the Ark as it is being transported, but is blocked by debris and must make a detour to Alpha, where the WoW was created and also resides at. Simon is intercepted and informed by Ross that the structure gel used to make his new body, suit, was specifically engineered to poison and destroy the WoW, but the WoW killed them before they were able to make use of it. Upon reaching the WoW, Simon is given the choice to insert his arm, and lose it, to destroy the WoW, or walk away and let it live. No matter his choice, Ross attempts to kill Simon, either to force him to stop the WoW, or to make sure the WoW could not absorb Simon and become immune to the new toxin in its system. Either way, Ross is devoured by a deep-sea creature, which attempts to devour Simon as well. Simon escapes and finds Phi. Inside Phi, Simon finds the Ark, which is being kept alive by the last human existing that kept herself barely alive on life support to keep the Ark protected and energized until it could be launched by someone else. After taking the Ark, Simon loads it onto the space gun and finds the human Catherine's dead body next to the space gun. Upon using the black box, Simon finds out that Catherine was accidentally killed by her colleagues in a heated argument, tussle, about whether or not they should take the chance of launching the Ark with all the debris and conditions of the Earth's atmosphere. Because of this accident, they never launched the Ark. After loading the shuttle to be launched into space, Simon heads to the gun to finish launching the Ark into space once and for all. Once they reach the gun and start the process to launch the Ark, and Catherine promises to scan them into the Ark right before it launches. Catherine successfully scans them, although with only milliseconds left to go, and the Ark launches. Once the Ark launches, Simon is confused as to why they are still on Pathos-II, and Catherine explains once again that she cannot transfer brain scans, only copy them. The copies are aboard the Ark, while their current consciousness is left behind on the station. A heated argument is created between Simon and Catherine. While Simon refuses to accept his fate, it is interrupted as Catherine's terminal suddenly deactivates. The entire station powers down as a result from the space gun activation, leaving Simon alone in the darkness. The version of Simon that was copied onto the Ark, completely unaware of the other version left behind on Pathos-II, wakes up on a beautiful landscape and is reunited with Catherine in front of a futuristic island city, and the Ark successfully makes it into space aboard a satellite as it looks down upon the destroyed Earth. Now that the story is all out of the way, there was a few things that I was very confused about that I wanted to go look up and get answers to. Number one question was, why was Simon woken up at Epsilon? By who – what? And there isn't really an explanation in the game, but I was just watching my part 21 a little bit ago, and I remember Simon saying, it's like, why did the WoW bring me here? So he does confirm that the WoW was what initiated Simon here. I did find this answer, though I didn't think it existed. A lot of people didn't think it exists. I guess we forgot this dialogue. So pretty much what I have written down here is that the game does not say, but it is speculated in forums that the WoW was putting all scans into all open ships and robots as a way to preserve humanity, which was what it was trying to do. Which is why the robots like Carl and Robin were random locations, and Amy claimed nothing is allowed to die. You know, when she was on that resuscitator, that's why she said nothing is allowed to die, because the WoW would not let humanity die. Even though Simon's scan was at Theta, it is assumed that the only available body, since his scan as a legacy would be the last on the list, and therefore it put him into a body at Upsilon. Also, because Simon was put into a robot with a human already inside it, he had the perfect level of robot and human tissue to create the perfect human consciousness to keep him from going insane. There's a lot of speculation about this, because it's like, well, Catherine was all robot. Why didn't she go insane? I mean, of course, you could always argue that, like, well, she probably would have eventually. It just didn't take long enough. I don't know. You know, it creates a lot of questions, but pretty much we know that Simon was put into motion because of the WoW, just trying to put all the scans into bodies to preserve humanity. I asked this question I never found an answer to, but I guess I'll kind of. Was the WoW destroyed forever, or did it take Simon's body after he was left in the darkness? I don't know. I just assume it's destroyed forever. I don't know what happened to Simon afterwards, but I don't think anyone could truly know that unless there is a sequel. I don't know. I was wondering, where did the enemies come from? I didn't know like where the monsters come from. It talked a lot about Akers and his monsters, like what the hell happened. Is someone explained that you are just if you are just 100% robot, you will eventually go insane because you will understand that this is not reality and be driven mad, which explains all the non-human enemies, and the disco head monster could do all that teleport stuff because of the high levels of electromagnetism, most likely from insanely high levels of structured gels because they weren't human or something shit like that. I don't know. This leaves the human enemies, the proxies. Akers and all the other proxies was created. This is speculated because I don't think the game says this anywhere. Because the WoW did not have any robot bodies around the area to preserve humanity, so it infected the dead bodies with structured gel to reanimate them in a zombie-like fashion, making them incredibly hostile. I assume Akers was especially messed up and powerful. He is the one that runs down the stairs and picks you up and then places you in that mucky stuff, which I also presume this was a way to allow the WoW to seep gel into you to try to preserve you as well, I assume is what he was doing. Because he, if I remember correctly, I didn't check this up, I don't remember correctly, it was living off or sucking on that structure gel stuff when he was alone at Delta. And I assume that's why he went crazy and carved out his eyes and shit. Then once dead, he was filled with gel from the WoW, making him even stronger, or just more special. Maybe that's why he looks differently. I don't know. Because he was already infused with gel, but this is just a theory. I have no fucking idea. Here's also some extra theories created on a forum, a long fucking list by a person that calls himself self.soma. I don't know who this person is, but thank you for this. Simon 2, which is what we're calling Simon's first clone before he gets turned over, his first copy before he goes over to the, next one, was built by WoW by combining the Simon template with the scans of Reed. Basically, the WoW experimented with the scans for a long time, trying to make robot humans. It failed repeatedly, but through trial and error, eventually first succeeded with Simon 2. As long as Simon 3 did not kill WoW, assuming Ross's plan even works, the WoW would have 100% succeeded in making a robot for every single person on Pathos-II. So we must remember that the WoW is not bad. I mean, the WoW is not evil, though we as humans would perceive the WoW to be evil. What the WoW was doing this whole time was just trying to preserve humanity. That's what it was programmed to do. That's what it would do, no matter the cost. And so, while we would see this as evil because it's creating monsters, quote unquote, these were more of failed tests because it failed again and again trying to make the perfect robot. And eventually, theoretically, if the WoW would have been left alone long enough, it would have recreated every human perfectly in perfect simulated bodies and would have restored humanity back to normal. But because the WoW does not see its failed attempts as inhuman, it sees every robot and humanoid as human. So it wouldn't destroy its failed attempts, and so they went insane, and that's why they were kind of quote unquote monsters. The WoW did not order Akers to kill anyone. Akers learned through his interface with WoW that the WoW was able to translate organic humans into a Ark-like network if it got a hold of their physical bodies. Akers took this to a religious extreme all on his own. The WoW then followed up because it didn't really care why Akers was acting so long as it achieved its set goal of connecting as many human beings as possible. The proxies in Theta, and likely at least a few of the EMP monsters, are likely simplistic robots directly commanded by the WoW to do certain tasks. How well they do it is based on how much personality they have left. Akers had a lot of personality left and came up with the whole religious reasoning, but it was irrelevant. He eventually fried himself out or went insane, likely from the stress of being rejected as a monster, and he was a bad person for what he did to people at Delta. WoW did choose to kill all the primes at Omicron. It had no choice, however, because much like WoW's action in preventing the stupid humans from committing suicide at Theta, it had to take action and prevent the stupid humans from killing all the personalities stored within WoW and ultimately dooming mankind by killing the WoW. So if you remember back in the story, it said that the WoW went crazy and just started massacring everybody at Omicron. This is true and untrue. It didn't go crazy, but it learned that the people at Omicron were planning on bringing that shit down to kill the WoW. And while the WoW didn't care about itself, I mean, it didn't have the conscience that we would as a human thinking, I gotta defend myself. You know, someone's trying to hurt me, I gotta defend myself. It wouldn't have cared that they were going to kill them, except for the fact that it was programmed to, you know, save humanity. And if it was gone, its humanity is gone. So if the WoW was destroyed, the humanity is done for. So therefore, no matter what it took to keep humans alive, meant that it had to protect itself, because if it was dead, humanity's dead in its eyes. So that's why the WoW started just ripping people's skulls off left and right, because it had to protect humanity, even if that meant killing humanity. So that's why that happened. And it's also said that everyone thinks that people in Theta were dead. Actually, it is theorized that everybody in Theta was still alive. That's why you could see all those bodies in the wall. To preserve some of the bodies from either killing themselves or dying off, the WoW pretty much absorbed them into itself and like connected it to the WoW, keeping them barely alive yet from killing themselves and from dying off. So pretty much as a way to preserve humanity, it's absorbed the humanity into the WoW itself, becoming kind of one. So knowing this, I probably would have not chosen to kill the WoW. But I mean, I thought it was like an epic final battle, so I was excited. But knowing what I know now, that the WoW is not evil, and if given enough time, it would have created all of humanity. Though, I mean, to what humanity it would be, living at the bottom of the ocean with no purpose. But, I mean, launch the Ark and have humanity at the bottom at the same time, I think that's a win-win. So, I mean, I probably wouldn't kill the WoW now. But I think that that's really deep, that if you think about it, that the WoW technically wasn't evil. And I think that's really cool. I think they did a really good job. Of course, I can talk about this shit for hours, because, I mean, it's so fucking deep and it's so cool. But pretty much all the monsters are failed attempts, and so they went insane and tried to kill stuff. Well, not really so much try to kill stuff. They were very hostile, yes, and they would hurt. But as Akers was doing, as I believe Akers was doing, he tried to turn you in, well, if not into one of them, try to put you into the wall to preserve you. I mean, I think that's what his job was to preserve you. So there you go. That's pretty much all the theories I have and all the holes I was missing throughout the storyline. But if you know of any others, or you can think of any others, let me know, and I can maybe try to find out the answer to, or you could just look it up yourself. But yeah, pretty much, it gives, I mean, I think this is one of the best games that to date that Frictional Games has made. Like, they really stepped up their game. The storylines are always the best part, in my opinion, of any Frictional Games. And oh my god, they create such a deep and rich storyline, which is probably why they worked on it for like 4 to 5 years, if not longer. Yeah, they just went out of their way with the storyline. I don't feel it was as clear as it could have been, because some of the bits I either just didn't take to heart, even though they spelt it out for me, or I just, I was trying to hide from the monster. I didn't have time to read the computer terminal or the little flashbacks, because there's a monster running after me, So I feel like some of that might have been hard and missed and went over. But besides that, I think they really outdid themselves with this game, and I will continue to support Frictional Games and every endeavor that they have, that they make. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in whatever else Frictional Games makes.